I'm confident as we go forward that the President will choose an individual who will be able to restore the confidence of our nation in our leading law enforcement agency. President Trump made the right decision at the right time. The former Director of National Intelligence has said there is no evidence of collusion. The President and I remain confident that the committees in the House and the Senate that are looking into every aspect of issues that arise out of last year's election will be able to do their work and do it in an orderly way.
That was the Vice President Mike Pence earlier today defending President Trump's decision to fire James Comey. Here now with reaction, the author of the soon-to-be-released book, Understanding Trump, former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. If it wasn't so serious, the bizarre tinfoil hat conspiracies, they'd actually be funny. But it's now become organic in spite of, as I pointed out in the last segment, Admiral Rogers and Clapper and so many others. There's not a shred of evidence. Not a shred.
Right.
So it would be funny.
Well, I'll tell you what's equally amazing. Some of the liberal networks are now actually reminding Democrats of what they said about Comey in the last few months. And, I mean, I've never seen them do this before. I think the Democrats are now so out of sync with reality that even the more liberal networks are beginning to have to say, now, wait a second. Remember when you said this and you said this and you said this. The objective fact is that there is no evidence that President Trump did anything in any way that was inappropriate. And I think that part of what you have, and you saw this with Hillary Clinton last week, they can't look in the mirror and say, I lost. So there's got to be some, somebody did it to them. And I think the next phase after this burns out will be Martians. I think they'll go back and pull up copies of Mars Attacks. They're going to pull up. They're going to pull up Mars Attacks as a movie.
I'm sitting here.
Say,
the next phase of this is going to be, and I'm expecting something profound in Martians. Okay, Laura said last night, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
That is profound. That's right.
I got it. I understand. I want to go to Rod Rosenstein. I mean, here's what was it? April 25th. 94-6, Democrats approved him. They loved him. He was appointed by Obama to, I guess, be the U.S. attorney in Maryland. And he and all of these other attorney generals during the Ford era, even for crying out loud, Eric Holder and others, all say the same thing. Mukasey and so many really smart attorney generals, deputy attorney generals from all these past administrations.
Look, the fact is that's the real argument that the Democrats have. Here is somebody who is a career professional. I think he served starting back in the Clinton administration in the Justice Department. He was picked, he was Obama's choice to be the U.S. attorney for Maryland. He, as you point out, he's endorsed 94-6. And he's the guy who writes the memo that says we will never be able to rebuild the FBI as long as Comey is there. Now, if you're the President of the United States and out of a nonpartisan career professional, you get a memo like that, you have a pretty strong pressure to act and to do the right thing for the country. And I believe in firing Comey that President Trump did exactly the right thing.
So as the great historian that you are, and this is your love and passion, and I've always felt you were more professorial. I'm not setting you up, more professorial. You actually were a professor. All of these analogies for Watergate, Mark touched on it a little bit in the last segment, they're so inadequate and false, and it's almost universal. And then it goes a little further on NBC with the whiffs of fascism comments. Do you want to just address that from a historical perspective? It's not the Saturday Night Massacre.
No, well, first of all, they're totally different environments. The fact is that you are now dealing with a desperation on the left. I mean, I think the only way you can understand the news media and the left-wing Democrats is that it's a pathology. I mean, it's not a political event. It's a psychosis brought about by the shock on election night that the world they knew was coming, namely Hillary Clinton, a liberal Supreme Court, imposing radical values using the power of government. Sometime around 8 or 9 o'clock that night, it disappeared. And they have never gotten over it. And as a result, you see these kind of nutty statements. You know, when President Clinton fired the director of the FBI, I don't remember anybody jumping up and saying there was a whiff of fascism about doing it. The objective reality is that the president was given advice by a career professional who was acceptable to Obama, acceptable by 94-6 to the Senate. He took that advice. But my deeper point here, Sean, is if President Trump comes out tomorrow morning and announces that he has decided that the United States flag is red, white, and blue, Chuck Schumer is going to jump up and say, you see, once again he's wrong because it's fuchsia. Don't all of you understand that it's fuchsia? Because they can't agree on anything that Trump wants. And so it's kind of like they wake up in the morning and they say, I know Trump's guilty. What is it he did? And that's their whole approach right now. And we just saw in Omaha, by the way, they had a good guy running for mayor, had a real chance to win. And the more people realized who the Democrats were, the more his campaign collapsed.
All right, Mr. Speaker, thank you for being with us, and I really appreciate the Martian analogy. Why am I not? I won't be shocked when it happens. I mean it. I really think it can happen.
Part of my professorial role, right? My professorial role.
That's correct. All right, sir. Thank you. And up.